Creating impactful and lasting change is a mission, a vision, and a movement. Welcome to Nonprofit Voices of Impact, the show that will delve into the heart of the nonprofit world, showcasing the leaders and change makers who are driving meaningful transformation in our community. Through engaging interviews, real-life success stories, and valuable insights, this podcast highlights the passion, innovation, and dedication that fuels nonprofits across Westchester County. Whether you're a nonprofit leader or advocate, Nonprofit Voices of Impact empowers you with the knowledge and inspiration to make a powerful difference. I'm your host, Dr. Marsha Gordon, President and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester, and I'm joined by my co-host, Linda Tyler, Vice President of Membership and Programs, Business Council of Westchester.
Nonprofit Voices of Impact is sponsored by New York Presbyterian and PCSB Bank. Thank you for your support of the BCW Podcast Network. New York Presbyterian has 3 campus locations in Westchester. New York Presbyterian Westchester in Bronxville, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital in Cortlandt Manor, and New York Presbyterian Westchester Behavioral Health in White Plains, and a new state-of-the-art facility opening in 2025 at 1111 Westchester Avenue in White Plains. Known as New York Presbyterian The One, this center of excellence will improve access to medical care by offering a wide range of adult and pediatric specialty care, all under one roof, delivered by exceptional teams led by trusted Columbia doctors. NYP The One will include centers of excellence in cardiovascular and neurosensory treatment, men's health, women's health, pediatric health, and a cancer center satellite. Take your organization far with the power of local banking. PCSB Bank's array of services, customized solutions, and local financing decisions mean you have a powerful commercial bank nearby when you need them. Voted best in business banking for 2 years in a row by 914 Inc., PCSB Bank's commitment to serving consumers, businesses, and nonprofits in the community is unparalleled. Stop by one of their 14 branches located throughout Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and Rockland counties, or call 888-808-4700 to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. I'm Linda Tyler, Vice President of Membership and Programs for the Business Council of Westchester, and welcome today to our episode of Nonprofit Voices of Impact. We are going to shine a light on the missions of 2 incredible non-for-profits, 914 United and Steer for Student Athletes. Joining us are 2 incredible leaders, Jonathan Alvarez, President and CEO of 914 United, and Patrick Durney, COO of Steer for Student Athletes. Welcome, gentlemen.
For having us.
Jonathan and Patrick, thank you for joining us today. And before we dive in, please tell us, the audience, a little bit about your roles and the missions of your organizations. They're really powerful.
Yeah, I'll jump in. So I'm Jonathan Alvarez. I'm the founder and CEO of 914 United. You know, the organization's mission is really about bringing people with lived experiences, right, through the criminal justice system who transform their lives through that system, coming back to the community to help guide young kids on a similar pathway. So the model that we deploy is called the credible messenger model, right? Individuals with lived experiences coming back into their community with a credible message and connecting with the individuals at risk or those coming home from incarceration and helping them carve out pathways to success, right?
I just want to jump in and say, I think what's so incredible and powerful is the shared experiences and the great examples, because we all live by example. You know what I mean? That has such an impact. So I love that part of your mission.
Yeah. And I was going to just add that, you know, our main cause is fighting recidivism here in Westchester, right? You know, youth incarceration and violence prevention. We're really on the front lines of that, working with corrections, working with the Yonkers School District, and just on the ground, doing the work.
Getting your message out. And I've seen many, many wonderful programs you've put into play to work with your young mentees.
That's right.
So Patrick, tell us a little bit about Steer for Student Athletes.
Yeah, so I'm Patrick Durney. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Steer for Student Athletes, which is a nonprofit-based organization out of Westchester that provides individualized services and mentorship to at-risk student athletes in Sleepy Hollow, Yonkers, Portchester, and the South Bronx. We do that by partnering with schools and school districts, where we identify advisors who are mentors that act kind of as a liaison between the school and our office to deliver individualized services to those at-risk students over a long period of time. So those advisors are teachers, coaches, administrators that are part-time staff members of ours that already exist in the communities that we serve. And they're the reason why the mission and the model works, the people on the ground doing the great work.
You know, it's incredible. And what I hear you're giving young kids is you're giving them a purpose, right? And then a framework to then get to those end goals of what they want their lives to be as they're starting out into young adulthood, correct?
That's right. You
Definitely, yeah.
Perfectly said.
What makes this episode particularly meaningful is that both of you represent outstanding nonprofit organizations that are a part of the BCW's Rising Stars Alumni Non-for-Profit Partnership. We have Amanda DePalma here today to share more about this impactful program.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you for having me here again. The BCW's Rising Stars program is inspired by the National 40 Under 40, and it highlights young professionals who show exceptional leadership, creativity, and dedication to the Westchester business landscape. It goes beyond just recognition. Through the not-for-profit partnership initiative, the Rising Stars alumni collaborate to support local nonprofits, offering them their time, their skills, and their resources. This effort helps amplify nonprofit work while giving them the direct access to business professionals passionate about community impact. And 914 United and Steer for Student Athletes were two of the organizations that had Rising Stars in 2025. And so that is why the Rising Stars alumni are, continuing to support them in the coming year.
Jonathan and Patrick, as Rising Stars honorees and leaders of organizations chosen for this partnership, how has being involved with the BCW Rising Stars Network and this initiative shaped or enhanced your missions?
Yeah, so I'm noticing, more recognition with people reaching out to me on LinkedIn, wanting to get to know me in the story, inviting me to events. And then just tapping into a new community, right, that we all in Westchester, right, but may not have really connected. So I'm now having luncheons and dinners with new relationships that are, entrepreneurs in the community. So for me, it's just starting, but I'm seeing, it's a great opportunity.
The power of connection, right?
Yeah.
That's what really is critical. Patrick, what about you?
Yeah, I think I echo Jonathan's kind of sentiments there. It's the relationships that you can develop with people in the business community in Westchester. And while I'm still kind of just getting my feet wet, getting to meet new people and learn about the other incredible organizations in Westchester County that are doing great work, it's really a great community to learn more about what other organizations are doing and how that can support the mission of our organization, right? There are so many great companies and businesses that I look at as future workplaces for the students that we serve. And so it's really, using that this big community to connect the dots all the way down from when students start in schools and get into the workforce.
Can I add one more point?
Absolutely.
So I thought about this just now, that the benefit, yes, is serving me as a leader, but it's also about representation for my community, right? Yeah. So being in this space, it is a powerful space, right? The representation for those coming behind me, seeing that this is possible because where I'm at today.
I love both sentiments in what you're saying, and I'm going to give a little shout out to the BCW's non-for-profit community. We have over 155 non-for-profits of every type, every size, and what I love is our non-for-profits collaborate with each other all the time, and then there are great for-profit companies who want to work with different non-for-profits, that they have a mission that is resounding to them, that they love, and you're a big part of this whole network, and of course showcasing your organizations, because that's a huge part of, getting the word out to your mission so you can reach as many clients as possible. Jonathan, let's talk a little bit about 914 United and what are your organization's top priorities right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. So to answer that question, I want to delve into the current model that we've been able to articulate this year. It's called the Credible Case Manager. And this model is an innovative model of the credible messenger model, right? And what it does, it has 3 core features: case management. It has program development, and credible messenger mentorship. Right? We've been able to prepare and train the staff to embody that model and bringing that model into corrections, right? And expanding the services in corrections so we can strengthen the reentry pipeline, right? What we notice is leakages happening with kids in institutions not really making it to the community services. With this model, we've been able to have high retention, and then also just great impact with the services that we provide. And then on the other side of it is to strengthen the relationship with the Yonkers School District, which currently now we're serving 2 schools, middle and high schools, where that model is inside those schools working with the kids to get them in the community. Because that's another area where we see individuals, organizations going into schools, but the kids don't connect on the outside, right? So we're trying to change that narrative and investing into that model, expanding it and replicating it throughout Westchester County is one of the long-term goals. We even have a training now that we're offering other credible messenger-based organizations who are in the work of youth diversion or violence prevention or reentry to learn how to take on this blend model, because in the nonprofit space, it's typically segmented. Case management over here, programs over here, and then that referral process creates a leakage. So there's a way that we can capitalize on individuals with lived experiences, and I want to normalize that. And then my last point is to bring home the argument that the model actually advances equity in the workforce. And what I mean by that is individuals coming home with lived experiences like myself, even having an education, we're pigeonholed into entry-level positions that don't give us skills or access to build competencies around administrative skills. This model does a little bit of that. It also gives the individual the autonomy to incorporate their interests and their talents and create a program that speaks to the needs of the community. So the investment, it builds morale, it builds connection, and we're seeing a lot of impact with this, and we want to scale it.
And I love what you're saying, because it's about the individual and it's about the impact it has on the community. And I think this is just true for anybody. It's about, I don't care your age, I don't care what you do, but if you have purpose and a goal, that's what fuels us all, right? And that's what you're giving these kids, which I love. Patrick, tell us where STEER is today and what makes your model unique.
So as I mentioned earlier, we operate in schools. So we're at Sleepy Hollow High School. We're in Portchester High School. 2 schools in Yonkers, the Barack Obama School for Social Justice and the Charter School of Educational Excellence, which is a regional charter school, regional public charter. And then we're also in Careers in Sports High School in the South Bronx. Across those schools and in college, we serve 135 students annually.
Wow.
And we take a really long-term approach, which is kind of where the model gets a little unique, is that some of our students have been engaged in our programs for over 8 years, from as young as 8th grade all the way into college graduation and entry into the workforce. But also it's the individualization and understanding that the needs of each student is their unique needs, right? And I don't have the same needs as you or as Jonathan. We all have different kind of needs that we have, and we provide different resources for those through something called an individualized support plan. That's kind of like the centerpiece of our model. So the first time a student comes into our program, we meet with their mentor, we meet with our support staff, the student, their family, to identify the goals that they have, right, and their purpose, and how we can provide resources to achieve those individual goals over time. So it's not just one meeting and then years go by. It's multiple meetings a year. It's regular, weekly, sometimes multiple times a week interactions with their mentors and our staff, all throughout high school and through college, and into the workforce. It's taking that really long-term, deep approach, and the needs can be something like, I'm an in-season athlete who plays basketball, but outside of basketball season, I don't really have a lot of opportunities to spend my time in a positive way. Well, we'll send you to an AAU basketball program over the summer. We'll send you to individualized training in the spring or the fall so that you can stay mentally, physically well. And it's really looking at it as this total kind of symbiotic model, right? It's not just the school, it's outside of the schools, as Jonathan mentioned as well.
And Patrick, I love what both you and Jonathan are saying, which is it's that consistency and it's long term. And that's the key, right? And that's the key to keep kids focused and doing what they want to do. And then shifting when you occasionally have to, because people, their goals may change or what they want to do may change or the outcomes they want may change. But that long term, really relationship you're building with your students and your kids is, I think, a key part of your success. Yes?
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell us both what your organization's missions have meant to you both on a personal level and what keeps you both motivated to keep driving everything forward. Like what really was, your just aha moment that this is it for me?
It's a good question too. So, my storyline, is what motivated the mission. For those who don't know, I'm formerly incarcerated. I served nearly 13 years in state prison from 17 to 30. And in my re-entry experience and realizing the gaps, right, that were in Yonkers and Westchester, the lack of services or that relationship-centered, right, that tribe that we were missing coming home is what the organization built. And so it's inspired by my own personal journey. And what really gives me, what's my North Star, right, what's the aha thing is that I realize it's bigger than me. Right, this is not about Jonathan. This is about the many men and women coming home from incarceration, the young kids who are gang involved, who think that there's not a way out, right? I'm the example that it is. I actually was telling Patrick earlier, I'm celebrating today my 7th year home. So this is my anniversary of my rebirth.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm beating the odds, and I think that when I remember that others are watching, it gives me that purpose to keep going.
And I love that because we've all had role models in life and people are looking at you, a young person, right? They're re-entering into the world and they can say, he did it. I can do it too.
Exactly.
That's hugely powerful.
Yeah.
So congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you. Patrick?
Yeah, I think it's that I see myself in the mission, right? I see myself in the purpose. I was an at-risk student in high school. In 9th and 10th grade, I really struggled with mental health issues and truancy. I was cutting school regularly, disengaged from school, and considered dropping out of high school in 10th grade. But it was through an alternative pathways program in Yorktown, which is a different, resourced community. There's still these issues where I had mentors in smaller class sizes so that I could graduate from high school on time with a local non-Regents diploma. I wasn't really thinking about college, but I applied to and got accepted into the only college I applied to, which was Westchester Community College. And I had no really intention there. My mentors, the people who were looking out for me, they pushed me to just try, just give myself a try, right? And I didn't see these things in myself. And so, I worked, 30 hours a week at a local pizzeria while I did school part-time. And it was a mentor, my English 101 teacher at Westchester Community College, who pulled me aside and said, you're an exceptional writer. You should apply to this honors program. And I said to myself, oh, okay, I never really thought of myself as a great writer, but I'll give it a shot. And she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, right? I was, considering dropping out of college that semester. And she helped me get re-engaged in my educational experience, right? And so I went on to do the honors program, graduated from Westchester Community College, went on to Purchase College, studied political science, and in my senior year interned with Assemblyman Steve Otis, and then also interned at Steer for Student Athletes, and fell in love with the mission at Steer because I saw myself in it, and I really appreciated the grassroots element of it, right? We were getting into the schools, getting into the community, meeting with students, meeting with families, and taking that long-term approach. And so, I'm passionate about it because I see myself in it, and I'm paying it forward to the next generation of kids just like me.
You two are such powerful examples of success, and you're young. I mean, you're both still young yourselves, and you've done such incredible work within your fields. And Patrick, I love what you said. Sometimes, and I think it's true for all of us, it just takes that one person in our lives. And it could be someone through a nonprofit, it could be a parent, it could be a teacher, it could be a neighbor, but somebody who says, what you're doing is great, or I believe in you, or like you said, you didn't realize you were such a great writer, and a teacher saw that, and that just that gave you a light and a North Star, as you were saying, Jonathan, to go forward. Mm-hmm. So these stories are incredible, and they're so nice to share, and you're both real role models for your communities and your organizations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're continuing our conversation on the missions, impact, and futures of 914 United and Steer for Student Athletes with Jonathan Alvarez, President and CEO of 914 United, and Patrick Durney, COO of Steer for Student Athletes. Jonathan, looking ahead, what's your long-term vision for both 914 United and your role as a thought leader in this space?
Yeah, so this has been a year that I also invested a lot into myself as a thought leader, and it goes neck and neck with, or side by side with the mission, right? So really want to change what the experience is like coming out of incarceration in New York State, right? Building out a model that's not being implemented now by scaling the model we have right here in Westchester, so that ultimately we're changing policy and practice when we think about the returning citizen and what that process could feel like. The type of services, you mentioned individualized service plans, we do the same thing while they are incarcerated, changing the re-entry, the transitional piece. I was, afforded the opportunity to get my bachelor's in prison. And due to that educational space, I had, educators and academics, but there wasn't that effective re-entry, right, service that would have helped me coming home, building out a plan that was realistic. And I think that if we could take what we do at the county level to the state level and then replicate that as something that's the status quo, I think we'll be changing recidivism, reducing it much more than what it is now. And I want to be on the front lines of reimagining that, educating others on what it's like on the ground, and ultimately publishing, op-eds on this type of work to get that perspective out there to a more academic audience.
You want to expand what you're doing, which is terrific. And Patrick, where do you see Steer heading in the next 5 years?
Yeah, so our organization has been around for about 13 years, and with the exception of the last few years, we just served students in high school. Within the last 3 years, we expanded that into college, and I think it really speaks to what Jonathan was talking about, is filling the gaps, right? For our students, it was college persistence and career advancement and entry into the workforce. We know that if you're a low-income first-generation college student, the odds that you drop out of college are significantly higher than those in other neighboring well-resourced communities. And we know that there's work to be done there to ensure that they stay engaged in their education so that they can graduate and enter into career paths that they have all of the potential in the world to get into. It's just the resources that need to be brought to the students. And so this past month, we launched our 350 by 2030 campaign, which is to support 350 students across high school, college, and the workforce in the communities that we serve. We hope to expand into new communities as well, develop our relationships with the business community in Westchester as well, to network to those passionate people who want to give back and be a mentor or just have a conversation with one of these students and could potentially change their life for good. So for anybody listening at home, feel free to reach out, because we are looking for those people who want to give back, and that's what we're going to be focusing on going forward, is expanding to the college and career readiness kind of initiatives.
So it is a great reminder for anyone out there listening, if you want to learn more about volunteer and mentorship opportunities, 914 United and Steer for Student Athletes. It's both organizations, great ways to get back. Now, last question before we wrap. And thank you again, both, for sharing your stories and for sharing the great work that you're doing. It's a wonderful mission, and you're helping a lot of young people, and young people are our future, right? It's just so important to be able to connect and help them as they're figuring out what to do next. What advice do you have for young people out there who are maybe a little lost? They're not sure what to do. They might be on the verge of making some poor choices. What advice do you have for them?
It's a good question. So I try to, the message behind the work is be comfortable with challenging yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Breaking outside your comfort zones. I think where we come from, we put ourselves in boxes, right? And we get comfortable with who we are. And what I learned in my journey was breaking outside that box, taking risks, trying new things, right? That has helped me open up my mind and realize that I am more than what I was experiencing. So that'll be my advice. Yeah.
Patrick?
My advice is to believe in yourself, give yourself some grace and some space to kind of come into yourself, there are so many opportunities out there for you, and there's so much potential. And even if you don't see it in yourself, it's there. And so give yourself the time and the space to kind of cultivate that and kind of become yourself. Yeah.
You two, you've shared such great stories and insights and personal experience and great advice, and thank you. You were both fantastic. Thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a pleasure.
Thanks again. It was a great conversation.
Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, What's Trending, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, The Member Spotlight, and Nonprofit Voices of Impact. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more, go to thebcw.org.